When men say they value a woman, they often point to things that can be seen with the eyes or measured by society's standards. Beauty, charm, status, or how well she fits into a cultural ideal of desirability. These are the qualities loudly praised, constantly reinforced, and endlessly sought after. But if you look closely, you begin to realize that these outer attributes are nothing more than illusions, projections of an image rather than recognition of a true essence. Men may chase these qualities with great urgency, but once obtained, the fascination fades quickly, and the woman who seemed irresistible becomes another passing figure in the endless stream of desires. This is the tragedy of valuing only what is visible. It is always fleeting, always vulnerable to time, to change, to comparison with the next face that appears, and beneath the surface a deeper hunger remains unsatisfied, gnawing quietly, searching for something it cannot quite name. The illusion of superficial value is powerful because it feeds the ego. Men feel validated when a woman of striking beauty or status stands beside them. They feel important, admired, envied, even elevated in the eyes of others. But such validation does not last because it is not grounded in truth. It is like grasping at smoke, appearing solid from a distance, yet dissolving the moment one tries to hold it. No matter how many women fit these outer ideals, no matter how perfectly they mirror what culture deems attractive, something remains missing. For men do not truly desire just another beautiful face. What they seek, though they may not realize it, is a rare quality that goes beyond appearances, something that cannot be bought, imitated, or performed. The paradox is that men often confuse the image for the essence. They believe they want beauty, but what they actually want is the radiance of a soul that makes beauty meaningful. They believe they want charm, but what they crave is the natural ease of presence that makes charm unnecessary. They believe they want a woman of high status, but deep down they hunger for someone whose worth is not dependent on external recognition, someone who carries within her a center untouched by the noise of the world. This is why so many men, even after gaining everything they thought they wanted, feel restless, dissatisfied, even trapped. They are haunted by the realization that the qualities they valued were only masks, and behind the masks, there was nothing substantial to hold on to. If you observe relationships where the foundation is built solely on appearance or social value, you will notice a pattern. The initial fire burns bright, but soon the man begins to grow irritable, distracted, discontent. He begins to look elsewhere, searching for that elusive something he cannot name. He is not merely bored, he is starving. Starving for a depth that beauty cannot provide, starving for a resonance that status cannot create. He does not consciously know it, but what he longs for is a reflection of his own unseen self, something only a woman of rare inner quality can reveal to him. Without that, every attraction fades, every bond becomes fragile, every connection dissolves. The illusion is dangerous not only for men, but for women as well. When women come to believe that their only value lies in appearance, performance, or how well they conform to societal ideals, they too are reduced to masks. They invest everything into maintaining surfaces, into pleasing, into fitting the mold, only to discover that no matter how flawless they appear, they are still treated as interchangeable. This is because what men truly hunger for is not something that can be painted on the skin or measured in social approval. It is something rare, often invisible, something cultivated in silence and truth. The world constantly distracts us with surfaces, with glamour, with the endless parade of images. But beneath it all, the deeper truth waits, unseen yet more powerful than anything the eye can capture. Men may chase illusions, but what truly captures their being, what roots them and awakens their loyalty, is not the illusion but the essence. And that essence cannot be imitated, cannot be mass-produced, cannot be replaced. It is rare because it is real. It is real because it is lived, not displayed. So when I speak of men valuing a woman, I am not speaking of the values society shouts at us, the shallow and the fleeting. I am speaking of a deeper recognition, often unconscious, that yearns for something beyond the mask. And until a man encounters it, he will always be caught in the endless pursuit of illusions, mistaking smoke for fire, image for truth, never finding rest in what he holds. And this is why the first step in understanding what men truly value is to see through the illusion of superficial worth, because only then does the search for the rare and lasting qualities begin. There is something within men that responds with a force beyond reason when they encounter a woman who is authentic in her being. This authenticity is not about behaving a certain way, not about putting on the appearance of gentleness or strength, not about carefully constructing an identity that looks appealing. It is something far more difficult to describe, because it is not a performance but a presence. A woman who is deeply herself, who has not hidden her softness out of fear, nor hardened herself to appear invulnerable, awakens in a man something that words cannot quite reach. It is not beauty in the conventional sense, though beauty may accompany it. It is not charm, though her presence may feel magnetic. It is an inner wholeness, where the contradictions of human nature are not denied but lived. And such a woman is unforgettable. Most women are trained to adapt to the demands of the world, to become what others expect, to hide the aspects of themselves that do not fit the mold. They learn to suppress their vulnerability because they fear it will be used against them, or to suppress their strength because they fear it will drive men away. They begin to divide themselves, presenting only fragments that seem socially acceptable. And yet, when a man encounters a woman who is not divided in this way, who carries both vulnerability and strength openly, he senses that she is alive in a manner that few others are. She does not need to manipulate or seduce, because her very being speaks to something deep within him. She reflects the possibility of integration, of wholeness, of a life not lived in fragments but in truth. It is rare because authenticity demands courage. It requires a woman to stand apart from the pressures that constantly push her to become someone else. Someone more pleasing, someone more predictable, someone easier to digest. It requires her to face her own fears, her own shadows, her own insecurities, and to embrace them as part of who she is. Most people do not have this courage. They choose the comfort of masks instead. But masks, no matter how polished, can never inspire the same awe as a face unhidden. And men, even if they cannot name it, even if they cannot explain it, recognize when they are in the presence of the real. A man feels something different when he meets such a woman. He does not just desire her, he is unsettled by her. She challenges him simply by existing, because she embodies something he longs for in himself but has not yet found. Her authenticity becomes a mirror, showing him the parts of himself he has ignored, the truths he has buried beneath his own masks. It stirs both admiration and unease, attraction and reverence. He may not even understand why he cannot forget her, why her presence lingers in his memory long after she is gone. But it is because what he encountered in her was not an act, not an image, but reality. And yet, because it is so rare, it often goes unrecognized until it is absent. Many men only realize the value of such authenticity after losing it, after finding themselves once again with someone who is beautiful but hollow, charming but shallow, polished but false. They compare, without even meaning to, and they realize that the difference is not in what can be seen, but in what can be felt. One feels like emptiness dressed in perfection, the other like imperfection lit with truth. And truth, however raw, is always more compelling than perfection. Authenticity has another quality that cannot be overlooked. It creates safety. In a world where people are constantly posturing, hiding and pretending, to meet someone who is genuinely themselves is to encounter a refuge. A man may not confess it, but beneath his bravado he longs for such a refuge. He longs for a place where he does not have to play the endless game of performance, where he can lay down the armor he wears in the world. And it is often only with a woman of authentic presence that he feels this is possible. This is why men treasure it so deeply when they find it, even if they lack the words to explain it. This is what makes a woman unforgettable, not her image, not her status, but her being. A wholeness that refuses to fragment, a presence that does not perform. And this, though almost no one truly has it, is one of the rarest and most powerful qualities that a man values in a woman. There is a hunger within men that no physical beauty, no charm, no social achievement can ever satisfy. It is the hunger to be seen, not with the eyes, but with the soul. Men go through life wearing masks, masks of competence, of strength, of authority, of invulnerability. They project what the world expects, what their roles demand, what their pride insists upon. But behind those masks, there often lies a loneliness that cannot be spoken. It is the loneliness of never being truly recognized for who they are, of never being known beyond the performance they are forced to carry. And so when a woman has the rare depth to reach through those layers, to look beyond the mask and into the hidden self, she awakens in him something he may have never experienced before, the sense of finally being seen. This depth of soul connection cannot be manufactured. It is not a technique, not a skill one can learn and apply. It comes only from a woman who herself has cultivated an inner life, who has walked through her own shadows, who has come to understand the complexity of human nature within herself. Only someone who knows her own depth can recognize the depth in another. When such a woman meets a man, she does not fixate on the surface, his achievements, his power, his possessions. She feels the resonance of his being, the struggles he conceals, the hidden light he does not know how to reveal. And in her presence, he feels something he cannot name but cannot resist the relief of no longer being invisible. Many men spend their lives surrounded by people who admire them for what they do, not for who they are. They are praised for success, respected for strength needed for their roles. But rarely does anyone sit with them in silence, without demand, without expectation, simply to touch the core of their being. When a woman can do this, when she can hold space for his inner life without judgment, she becomes unlike anyone else he has ever known. She is no longer just a companion. She becomes the one who allows him to encounter himself, and that is why he cannot forget her, no matter how much time passes. The power of this depth lies not in words but in presence. It is not about analyzing, not about offering solutions, not about trying to fix or improve him. It is about seeing and accepting what is already there. A man who is met in this way feels something rare. He feels safe enough to let down the mask. For perhaps the first time, he can reveal weakness without humiliation, fear without shame, tenderness without fear of being diminished. And this experience is transformative because it is not simply about being understood by another person. It is about discovering that his hidden self is worthy of love. This kind of connection cannot be forced, and that is why it is so rare. Most relationships skim along the surface, full of distractions and performances, never daring to touch the deeper currents. But when depth does appear, when a woman carries within her the strength and openness to meet a man at his core, everything changes. The bond created in that moment cannot be broken by time, distance, or circumstance. It is not attachment based on need, nor desire based on fleeting attraction. It is recognition, the meeting of two souls who see each other without disguise. For men, this is one of the most treasured experiences they can ever have, even if they cannot articulate it. They may stumble, they may resist, they may even fear the vulnerability it awakens. Yet once they have tasted it, they know its value, and they will always return in memory to the woman who gave it to them. Because beyond beauty, beyond charm, beyond any superficial quality, it is this depth of soul connection that answers the hunger they could never name. And that is why a woman who carries this rare depth will always be valued above all others, for she gives a man the gift of truly being seen. There is a reason men are not captivated by what is entirely predictable, a reason why relationships that become too fixed, too transparent, too easily defined begin to lose their spark. What men are drawn to with an intensity that surpasses reason is not merely comfort or security, but a kind of mystery, a quality that cannot be fully explained, that always seems to hold more than it reveals. This mystery is not manipulation, not a deliberate hiding of truth, but a natural presence that contains depth, change, and growth. It is the quality of being alive in such a way that there is always something new to discover, something unfolding just beyond reach. It is this living mystery that awakens a man's highest self, because it demands that he expand, stretch, and grow in order to keep pace with it. A woman who embodies this mystery does not present herself as a solved puzzle. She does not reduce herself to a single role, a single identity, a single script that others can predict and control. Instead, she carries within her contradictions, layers, and an openness to transformation. One moment she reveals softness, the next a hidden strength. One day she is vulnerable, another she is unyielding. She does not flatten herself into something simple and easily consumed, but remains fully human, complex, surprising, alive. And this is precisely what captivates a man, because in her presence, he senses that he too must become more than the limited version of himself he has been playing. Mystery does not mean distance, nor does it mean being closed. It means depth, the kind of depth that cannot be exhausted. Just as one never finishes exploring a great work of art or a profound piece of music, a man never feels he has reached the end of knowing such a woman. Each encounter reveals something new, not because she is hiding, but because she is always unfolding, and this unfolding becomes an invitation for him to do the same. He cannot remain stagnant, cannot settle into complacency if he wishes to walk beside her. She stirs him into motion, compels him to grow, awakens the dormant parts of his being. Men often mistake mystery for elusiveness, for a game of withholding or manipulation, but the kind of mystery that is truly valued is nothing of the sort. It is not about playing hard to get, not about obscuring the truth, but about living so fully that no one could ever contain or define you completely. It is a mystery born of authenticity and depth, not of pretense. When a woman is rooted in her own becoming, when she continues to evolve and deepen, she naturally radiates this aura of the unknown. And the man who stands before her is both challenged and inspired by it. He is drawn not because she withholds herself, but because she is inexhaustible. It is in this inexhaustibility that men find their own path to transformation. A predictable relationship allows a man to remain the same, never questioned, never stretched, never unsettled. But such a bond soon grows stale because it demands nothing of him. When he encounters a woman who carries living mystery, he cannot help but feel the stirring of something greater within himself. He begins to seek his own depth, his own strength, his own hidden potential, because only in that search can he remain close to her. Her mystery becomes a mirror, reflecting back his own capacity for growth, his own unfinished journey. And this is why men value it more than they often admit. It is not just about her, it is about what she awakens in them. This quality is rare because so few dare to embody it. Most people try to reduce themselves to something neat and consistent, something easily defined, something acceptable. But the ones who refuse to be confined, who continue to explore their own depths and contradictions, become the ones who hold this magnetic power. They are not trying to be mysterious, they simply are, because they live from a place that is deeper than appearances and never finished with becoming. And so, while beauty may fade and charm may lose its shine, mystery endures, because it is tied not to the surface, but to the soul's unfolding. And it is this mystery, this rare and natural magnetism that men value most, for it awakens not only their love, but their evolution.